Okay, yeah. Hey there, everyone. Welcome in. This is Dr. Novelle, and the doctor is in.
I was gonna say I don't think I ever heard of Phoenix Wright and for the love of Mary Sue.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't have heard that either if you hadn't said it after I'd finally gotten my microphone to work. Anyway, let us begin. Alright. We are starting trial day 1. Oh my. Mr. Larice feels that way about me? Apparently. He isn't aware of your real secret at all. This is no time to be embarrassed. I'm sorry. I'm just hardly accustomed to that sort of thing. Worry not. And in any case, whatever it was that he saw on the night of the incident, mark my words, I will drag it out of him. Does that mean Mr. Larice is the witness today? No. I believe that none will be the first to take the stand. Sister Bikini. She claims to have seen the very instant which you carried the crime. Carried out the crime, rather. I just want to ask you one last time. It really wasn't you who killed Miss Elise Donham, correct? That is correct. It wasn't me. Very well, then. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes? You are a prosecutor, aren't you? Are you sure about this? If your true identity is revealed... Don't worry. I've made the necessary arrangements. I see. Iris, it is a prosecutor's job to doubt people. But right now, I am a defense attorney. A defense attorney's job is to believe in people, and to believe until the bitter end. That's what my friend told me once. Mr. Edgeworth! I simply ask that you watch and decide for yourself, whether or not I'm fit to do the task I've been entrusted. Very well, sir. I leave my defense in your capable hands.
Court is now in session for the trial of Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The defense does indeed appear to be ready. However, the same cannot be said for the prosecution in this case.
Indeed.
I'm not sure I like such a blatant waste of this court's time. An empty prosecutor's chair can only mean that the prosecutor has no confidence in their ability to prove their case. It would seem this case is already over before it had a chance to begin. I'm ready to announce my verdict at this time. This court finds the defendant...
Objection!
The prosecution stands ready.
And you are?
Franziska von Karma, prosecuting prodigy.
Von Karma, you say? Perchance you wouldn't be of any relation to the legendary prosecutor Manfred von Karma.
Legends are a thing of the past. I am a von Karma, that is all. Upon a special request, I flew in today for the purposes of prosecuting this case.
You did? Then you must be quite a big shot, eh? By the way, Mr. Edgeworth.
Yes, Your Honor?
I'm almost certain that I've seen you somewhere before. Or am I just imagining things? You look very much like a prosecutor I met once.
I believe you are imagining things, Your Honor.
Miss von Karma, do you have anything to say?
There is no such weakling as this man among those of the prosecutor's office.
There isn't? But I'm sure once before in this courtroom...
Ah! I told you, there is no such weakling!
What is that, a whip? I'm not sure I care for such a thing in my courtroom.
Finally, somebody said it!
Bailiff, remove that whip!
Hold it!
I have no objection to the whip.
You don't?
The prosecution can wield a whip or drink 17 cups of coffee, but there's still only one truth. That is what I stand here to prove today.
Edgy.
This promises to be interesting, Miles Edgeworth. I had expected to face Phoenix Wright here today. But looking at you now, maybe this is what I have been waiting for all this time. Miles Edgeworth, I will not allow this chance to crush you slip through my fingers. I see you brought your flair for the histrionic.
Allow me to add to the things I'm not sure about. People acting bizarrely in my court.
Ah! The stage is set. Now continue with the proceedings, Your Honor.
Very well. Miss Von Karma, please give an outline of this case. With as little whipping as possible.
The murder victim is the famed picture book author, Miss Elise Donim. Her body was found in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. She had been stabbed through the torso by a ceremonial sword from a golden statue.
The sword in this picture is the weapon in question, correct? Very well. The court accepts this photo of the crime scene.
There is no mistake. This was the doing of Sister Iris. After all, there is a witness to her crime.
Very well. Please bring this witness to the stand.
And so it begins. My first and last trial as a defense attorney. Witness, state your name and occupation, please.
Hold on here. I'm not sure about being not sure if I care for this at all. Witness, please stand up nice and straight.
If I recall correctly, there are a few milk crates in the defendant's lobby for our back pain-plagued witness.
Bailiff, fetch a crate for this poor lady, please.
Once again, your name and occupation, please. Little old me. Well, I'm the head nun of Hazakura Temple on Eagle Mountain. My name is Bikini. You got it? Bikini. Nice to meet everyone.
But you don't appear to be wearing a bikini right now.
Ah! The courtroom is the garden of holy judgment. Those with lechery in their hearts should leave this sanctuary at once.
You want me to leave?
Oh!
No need to get your bikinis in a twist. Let me tell you, I'm a sight to behold in summer.
In any case, witness, I hear that you saw the crime take place in the night in question.
That's right. I can still hardly believe it myself, to be honest. There's no way dear little Iris could do anything like that.
Let us hear what you have to say, then. First, tell us about your own movements that night, eh?
That night, I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple, but, well, as you can see, my back likes to act up violently. So, I left Iris to help the acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple. There's no bath at the inner temple, you see, and I needed a long, hot soak. It was after I had finished, just as I was heading back. That's when I saw it!
So it was simply coincidence that you found yourself returning to Hazakura Temple.
Yes, you could say that. If my back hadn't been in so much pain, I would have stayed at the inner temple.
That sounds like a pretty important statement she just made.
There's only one problem with this testimony that I can see. And you're not about to fall at the first hurdle, now are you, Miles Edgeworth?
Mr. Edgeworth, please begin your cross-examination.
That night I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple, but... well, as you can see, my back likes to act up violently.
Hold it! Violently?
That's right. It's no laughing matter, especially in winter. I can't hold anything heavier than a knife and fork during the cold months. Just being alive is like strict training.
On the night of the murder, was this fabulous back of yours hurting again?
That's right, raging like a bull in a pig pen. I almost fainted once or twice. I just knew that unless I warmed it up, it was going to finally finish me off. So I left Iris to help the acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple.
Hold it!
You left Iris to help. With what?
What do you think? The Acolyte's training, of course. It was just past 10 p.m., so we were starting to enter into the training exercises proper.
Wasn't it your place to remain with a disciple?
Well, the job is simply to watch over the Acolytes so that they don't pass away.
Just to confirm this point again, that night, you met Iris in the inner temple, correct?
Yes, she's a gentle, honest girl. She's never once failed to follow my directions.
Hold on. Let me check this. Okay. Okay, so... Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna present Iris's testimony, because she said this took place at around 10 p.m., but Iris said that she rang Lights Out bell at 10 p.m. and then was in her room until the murder was discovered.
Objection!
Witnesses have to undergo their own trials, I'm afraid. The defendant's fate rests on their powers of observation and memory, after all.
Well, don't worry, I'm more than up to the task. I'm a woman of faith, after all, the head honcho of Hazakura Temple.
In that case, Miss Honcho, I'd like you to explain something for me. The discrepancy between your testimony and that of the defendant, Iris. She claims that after ringing the lights out bell, she went back and stayed in her room. Which means she did not go to the inner temple at all.
No! She said that? A defendant or a witness? Who is more likely to lie, do you suppose? The defendant is simply lying to cover her back.
Objection!
But that is completely illogical. The murder was committed in the courtyard of Hazakura Temple. Claiming that she went to the inner temple would make for a much better alibi.
But that is odd. Whatever the reason, I can't believe that she would lie.
She does indeed have honest eyes.
Ah! All people lie. That is my belief.
Why am I the only one being whipped in here?
Because. Just because, that's why.
Anyway, neither the witness nor the defendant have any reason to lie. Which means you must call your memory into question.
Dear. You're older than me, and yet you want to play that game, do you?
Well, that isn't exactly what I...
My memory is perfect, crystal clear, especially in winter.
Then I suppose it's too early to end this cross-examination, eh? Mr. Edgeworth, if you are going to question the memory of this witness, you will need to show me a more decisive piece of evidence.
Understood, Your Honor. I was naive to think that alone would do the trick.
And please add your comments about Iris to the testimony, and let us return to the cross-examination.
That night I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple, but... Well, as you can see, my back likes to act up violently. Iris came to the inner temple. She was dressed exactly as she had been at dinner. But that's not possible because she would have no longer been wearing this hood.
Objection!
Witness, let's get one thing straight. The defendant whom you claim to have met, she was wearing this demon-warding hood, correct?
Of course! That is a very important piece of clothing, I'll have you know. Wait a minute.
Objection!
Hold it right there! Why do you have that?
That's the question of the day now, isn't it, Miss Von Karma? I'll have you know that this hood was given to someone as a gift that night, before the lights-out bell was rung.
What?
You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If the witness had seen the defendant as she claims, then the Iris she saw should have been missing this very hood.
Well!
Not a bad feeling at all, exposing contradictions like this. Now I understand that happy look on Wright's face every time he does it.
Order! Order in the court! Witness your— Ah!
Sister! This hood. You have spare ones around the temple, don't you? Spares? Well, I do tend to make too many of them.
I see, a stockpile. A surplus of hoods, eh?
Each nun is only given one hood. This should be the only hood that Iris owned.
Then this is quite strange. Ah!
If there was a surplus of hoods, then she could have worn one of those. There is no contradiction here.
Hmm.
I'm sorry to break this to you, Miss Von Karma, but you won't get away that easily. Discrepancies such as this will sow seeds in any human heart. The seeds of doubt.
Witness, while I don't wish to call your testimony into doubt, you must give every detail with precision.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable going along with this.
Well, too bad.
Sister, you shall continue with your testimony. Tell us what you saw after finishing your bath on your way back to the inner temple.
Those seeds of doubt are sprouting in the judge's heart. They just need a little more stimulation to bear fruit. Contradictory stimulation.
I finished my bath around 11, and I thought I should return to the inner temple. And as I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look, and Iris was— Oh, Mr. Galise! And with that sword of all things! Mr. Galise was staying in the corner room, which faces out onto the courtyard. The stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window.
But she was under.
You saw a truly terrible sight, didn't you? If I was in your place, then it would be much like Miss Von Karma whipping Edgeworth in two in court. And me seeing it all from this very chair. Well, something like that.
This judge... His imagination is about as vivid and creative as a Detective Gumshoe.
I would look the fool if I commented on such foolishness. Anyway, this case is mine, Miles Edgeworth.
Wait, something's not sitting right with me about that picture.
What?
So it shows that that Iris,
Mm-hmm.
quotes, is supposedly pushing a sword into a person, right?
Right.
The trajectory of the person is all wrong. The person is being lifted upwards. Like she's trying to pull the sword out.
Keep in mind that this memory is for the viewer's benefit, not for the actual court record. There's no contradiction here.
Well, no.
It's not like she had snapped a photo of this. If she had snapped a photo, then it would be a very different story.
Okay, well, maybe if this comes up to light, it looks like she's trying to pull the sword out instead of push it in, because if it was being pushed in, the person is going in the wrong direction to being pushed in.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure I fully trust this Iris, in quotes.
Calling everyone by their full name. Can't you do something about that habit of yours?
I finished my bath around 11 and thought I should return to the inner temple. As I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look, and Iris was— Oh, Mystic Elise, and with that sword of all things!
Hold it!
This is the second time that the witness has testified to seeing the defendant, but some doubt remains in these claims.
Hey, just what does that mean? Just because you're a good-looking young man doesn't give you the right to—
The murderer who stabbed the victim with the sword. Sister Bikini, try to recall exactly who it was you saw, as clearly as you can.
Well, you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. Oh, now that you mention it, there was something awfully strange about her. Something that has been bugging me all this time.
Please don't keep us in suspense.
Her hood! Her hood? That's right, it's coming back to me. Iris, she wasn't wearing her hood. I thought something was out of place, but it all makes sense now, doesn't it? After all, she'd given that hood away to someone, right? Ha! You've dug your own grave, Miles Edgeworth.
What do you say, Mr. Edgeworth? Is this testimony important?
It's important. This may initially appear to put me at a disadvantage, but I can't see any other leads at the moment. Your Honor, I would like these new statements to be added to the testimony.
Miles Edgeworth. If you want to hang yourself, you need only to ask. I'll gladly lend you my whip.
Yes, I would like to hang myself. Lend me your whip. Thank you. Fool! Psst, 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 psst. I whip you instead!
You're so silly.
What I wouldn't give to see that actually play out, though. Maybe like in a 4-coma type thing.
Witness, add that statement to your testimony.
No problem. Now that you mention it, Iris didn't have her hood on.
Hold it!
You are sure about that?
Yes, after all, we always wear the same clothes. I don't mean because we're poor, you understand. It's our style. Yes, that's it.
There's absolutely no need to explain yourself.
Anyway, she looked different from normal, so that really stuck out. Like me holding a whippet puppy instead of my whip.
At least that it might bite you and not someone else.
Iris didn't have her hood on, I'm sure of it.
Very well. Now, please tell us about the victim, eh?
Mr. Calise was staying in the corner room which faces out onto the courtyard.
Hold it!
The room the victim was staying in overlooked the courtyard, correct?
Which means the victim's room was on the 2nd floor.
No, Hazakura Temple's a single-story building. The mountain itself slopes downward, which elevates the main gate side of the temple and the guest rooms in the back to about the height of a 2-story building.
I see. And the victim was staying in one of these elevated rooms, correct?
Yes, I should know. I'm the one who carried her things to her room after all.
You with your bad back? Why did you do a fool thing like that?
Stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window.
Who pushed her out of the window?
What makes you so sure of all this?
It's just like I told you earlier. I heard a noise from the courtyard, okay? Thump! Just like that. You're one smart sister, I'll give you that. The autopsy report states that the victim's body was covered in bruises, indicating a fall from about 10 feet in height.
It appears that the witness was not mistaken, then.
Yep, I'm more than just a pretty face, especially in winter. I'm a woman of faith, after all, the head honcho of Hazakura Temple.
There's only 2 of them working there.
What's wrong, Miles Edgeworth? No snappy comeback remark?
It doesn't feel like she's lying. This is very powerful testimony, too. She claims to have seen the instant in which the defendant stabbed the victim. There are only 2 things I can believe in right now. My client, Iris, and my own abilities as a defense attorney. Let's see here.
I finished my bath around 11 and I thought I should return to the inner temple.
Hold it!
How far is it from your room to the inner temple?
Let me think a moment. About 20 minutes on these stumps of mine. It's about 15 minutes to Dusky Bridge from Hazakura Temple. The inner temple is just beyond the bridge. Still, you never made it back there that night, did you? That's right. I was heading along the walkway towards the main hall. And as I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look and...
Hold it!
You say you heard a noise.
Thump! Just like that. It could only be the sound of the victim falling. It's very quiet in the temple, you know. You can even hear the snow falling from the branches. Thump! Just like that.
But then, couldn't this noise you heard have been snow falling to the ground?
I never thought of that.
Ah!
The next one to laugh gets a whipping. Well, whatever the source of the sound, I looked over at the courtyard and... Iris was... Oh, Mr. Calise, and with that sword of all things.
Alright, so let's see here. Something's not right. Alright, let me check the weather report.
Wasn't it thundering?
Lightning struck Dusky Bridge. What'd you say?
Wasn't it thundering?
It was thundering, yes, but I'm trying to see if that's going to be important. Let's see. Oh, the autopsy report. Cause loss of blood from stab and back. Body fell 10 feet after death. Okay, so the stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window, which we would present the autopsy report to.
Objection!
Impressive logic. That's what I'd like to say, anyway.
Oh, please, do. My brain is something else, especially in winter.
However, I think you are overlooking one thing. Miss Von Karma, would you please be so kind as to take another look at the autopsy report? I gotta move my chair just a bit. Bear with me. It's gonna make some noise. There we go.
The autopsy report?
The victim did fall from a height of 10 feet. However, this fall was after she was killed.
That's right! It says after death right here.
The scene the witness claims to have seen is contradictory. If the defendant stabbed and killed the victim there in the courtyard, how did the victim then go to take a 10-foot fall?
Order! Order! The victim was killed and then fell. If that is the case, then the victim must have been killed in her room, don't you agree?
That is the logical conclusion. Yes, that's right. The victim must have been stabbed by the defendant in her own room, and she was then thrown out of her window down into the courtyard below.
Were there any signs of a struggle in Miss Donham's room? She was stabbed with a sword. That would leave a bloodstain, wouldn't you agree?
Well, Miss Von Karma, was there any blood?
Wah! No traces of blood were found in the victim's room.
Your whip has just caused traces of blood to be found on my glorious playoff beard. However, if there was no blood in the room, then your claim... Ah!
I'm sure there's no need for me to go over this, as I'm sure Your Honor is well aware of when a stab wound produces the most blood.
When it produces the most blood?
Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed.
Indeed, with the weapon still in place, it acts like a lid on the wound.
That's true. With the weapon still in the body, there wouldn't be much bleeding. A perfectly reasonable line of thinking.
We have come to a conclusion, then. The victim was thrown out of the window with the sword still in place. This removes all of the contradictions.
Order! 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 I must admit that this is a probable version of events.
I'd expect no less from Franziska von Karma. She locates and takes control of every vital point.
It seems that we need a clearer testimony from the witness. Remove all supposition on your part and tell us only the facts, please. Witness, please, remain standing on the crate.
Don't go selling me short now. The weight of winter snow has bent me out of shape, especially my back and my mood. Sister, please give us your testimony. I will give you a vigorous massage once we are finished here.
With the whip?
Oh, boy. All right, all right. When I looked across the scene, the sword was already in place. Thinking about it now, I didn't actually see her stab Mystic Elise. I've never seen so much blood before. That's when I fainted. You can't blame me, can you? And when I awoke, Mystic Amy was stabbing Mystic Elise through the back.
This all confirms Miss Von Karma's theory.
Von Karma strive for nothing but perfection. Putting together such facts is nothing for me. You should know that, Miles Edgeworth.
Perfection is an impossibility, Franziska Von Karma. And I'm here to teach you just that.
When I looked across at the scene, the sword was already in place.
Hold it!
At that time, was the victim bleeding?
Well, I was very shocked to be seeing all this, of course, so I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think I saw any blood, not then. I'm sure that you didn't. The weapon was acting as a plug in the wound.
In any case, let's be clear on one very important point. Did you actually see the instant in which the victim was stabbed?
Thinking about it now, I didn't actually see her stab Mystic Elise.
Hold it!
Think carefully, this is very important.
It's Iris we are talking about here. I'm thinking for a while I'm worth. No, when I looked over, the sword was already in Mystic Elise's body.
It might not be conclusive, but this testimony supports her theory.
The victim was stabbed in her room and then dropped into the courtyard. I think this proves it rather well, Miles Edgeworth.
Then how did she get out into the courtyard?
I've never seen so much blood before.
Hold it!
So you're saying that you saw the victim's blood?
That's right! Some of it splattered onto Iris, too! When the defendant was arrested, she was meditating in her room, and her blood-flecked clothing was neatly folded in the corner.
But what? The clothes were blood-flecked as well?
That seems quite conclusive to me.
What should I do? Press this point further? Yes, press further, press further. Going back to your previous statement, you said that you saw little bleeding when the victim was stabbed. But now you say you saw the victim bleeding?
Well, I say that what I saw is what I saw.
What did you see?
Maybe I didn't see the poor woman get stabbed, but I saw the girl pull the sword out of her plain as day.
Pulling the sword out?
Well, it wasn't exactly pulling. It was more like it came out.
Oh, witness, you will add this statement to your testimony.
That's a huge contradiction right there.
Oh, was that important?
More important than you can imagine.
I saw the instant which the blade plunged into the hilt was smoothly drawn out.
Hold it!
Smoothly, you say? You're saying you saw the sword smoothly slide out?
That's right. The whole thing happened right next to the gold statue of Mystic Amy. Mystic Elise was on the ground and Iris was stooped over her. The sword was buried up to the hilt.
Oh.
Okay, but the sword couldn't have been buried up to the hilt. You see how long that sword is?
There's something more important here.
Yeah, you see that? It wasn't buried up to the hilt.
It couldn't have been buried up to the hilt. Even if the bloodstains weren't just affecting the tip of that blade, this blade's design makes it next to impossible for a human being to skewer another up to the hilt.
And it's very difficult to remove, which is why... Okay, I get it.
When Iris stood up, the sword in her hand just slid out of Mystic Elise's body. It slid out from that gaping wound. Ah!
It goes without saying that if the sword was removed, there would be bleeding.
Nothing out of place here.
Is that really the case? I can't help but feel that something about this testimony is very out of place. That something which couldn't possibly have happened appears to have happened.
No, edgy.
All right.
Figure out what it is.
All right.
Sorry, I am a very strange person today, apparently.
Objection!
Sister Bikini, you are a reliable witness. At least I'd like to think so. But there were too many contradictions here.
What do you mean? You make it sound as though I'm a liar. But you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. What contradictions are you talking about?
In the scene that the witness claims to have seen, the weapon was thrust up to its hilt into the victim. Furthermore, the killer withdrew the weapon smoothly from the body. However, both of these are complete impossibilities.
What do you mean? Please, explain.
Explain yourself!
To start with, do you think it would be possible to stab someone to the hilt with this? No matter how I look at the defendant, she doesn't appear to be strong enough for that.
Objection!
Doesn't appear? What meaningless dribble. I, too, may appear to be weak and frail, but I can crush men under my heel and make them weep, should I so choose.
The objection stands. I wept a little back there, I must admit.
That isn't the only issue here. If this sword was truly stabbed into the body up to the hilt, well, just look at the branches on it. It certainly wouldn't come out smoothly.
That's...
We also have the problem of the amount of bleeding. It's true that when a blade is left in a body, it acts as a plug of sorts. However, when the weapon is shaped like this, it's an entirely different story. The wound would be too large for the blade to completely stop the bleeding.
Objection!
That's nothing more than conjecture! In reality, the victim was stabbed with a seven-branched sword. Even a weapon of this nature may still sometimes slide out smoothly and may still sometimes stop the blood loss.
I'm not finished. There is still one more conclusive contradiction.
You still got more.
This one is simple. If this sword really was thrust in all the way to the hilt, why is there only blood on the tip of it? If this witness is telling the truth, then there should be blood along the entire length of the sword!
No! Bravo, Miles Edgeworth. Raising this many contradictions from a single piece of evidence. All the other attorneys I know could maybe manage one, if that.
But what does all this mean? You've proven contradictions regarding the murder weapon, but...
Having come this far, there can only be one answer.
And that is...
The weapon used to kill the victim was not the seven-branched sword.
What?
A foolishly foolish idea born from the foolish mind of a foolhardy foolish fool!
Let's examine this again. What was it that made us think this sword was the murder weapon?
But, well... It's because Mr. Gamey was holding it.
Exactly. However, if you reflect on this, that is the only basis we have to assume such a thing. The impression left by the scene was just too strong. That is what influenced us. It influenced us to believe that the seven-branched sword was the murder weapon.
Order! 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 Ah!
So maybe the seven-branched sword was not the murder weapon. Even if that is the case, it changes nothing, Miles Edgeworth. The sister here saw everything. She saw the defendant stab the victim with a sword-like object.
That's true. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth?
If that is so, I would like the prosecution to answer the obvious question it raises.
The obvious question?
Yes, namely, where did the real murder weapon disappear to? It goes without saying that the police searched the main hall and the surrounding area. Perhaps the prosecution can enlighten us as to if a sword-like object was found.
That's... Answer the question, Miss Von Karma.
No evidence of that kind was found.
Another mystery to throw onto the pile. Trial without a murder weapon is a tricky beast.
Excuse me, could I say something? I just remembered something, actually. What is it, sister? I was just thinking it's possible that just maybe what actually happened was it was just over there.
What exactly are you going on about here?
The murder weapon, I mean. Maybe. I think I might know where the sword was disposed of.
You what?
Well then, I think we need to hear testimony from you one more time, sister.
Impossible! What else could this old woman have seen?
I saw the murder at around 11 p.m., and after asking that it be reported, I went out to the main gate. And there, I saw tracks that indicated the snowmobile had been used. It takes 15 minutes to walk to Dusky Bridge, but less than 5 using one of those. Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out. Iris could have done that. She can drive a snowmobile after all.
Witness, please tell us everything you know right away next time.
Well, I'm not in the best of shape, what with my back and my age, you know. Quite. There were indeed snowmobile tracks in front of the main gate. Here is a photograph.
A snowmobile, eh? I see. Well, it certainly is an interesting theory.
The tracks begin in front of Hazakura Temple and run all the way to Dusky Bridge.
But it...
That solves your pesky little problem, yes? The Eagle River's current is quite swift, meaning that it doesn't freeze over in winter.
But the problem is, in the picture, it looks like the tracks don't start from the main gate. They start from the bridge and go to the main gate.
Okay. I'll have to look what you mean later.
Making it the perfect place to dispose of the murder weapon.
Did she really go to the river to dispose of the murder weapon? Mr. Edgeworth, your cross-examination, please.
Come on, we all know who the real culprit was. It was Maya. You realize she hasn't been accused of murder this game yet, right? I saw the murder at around 11 p.m.
Okay, so let's take a look at that picture, shall we?
Yes.
All right, so...
There's no way that the tracks would have been coming from the main gate.
Okay, so the main gate is up on the left, right?
Correct.
Okay. So which tracks are you referring to? The snowmobile tracks or the foot tracks?
The snowmobile tracks.
Okay.
Because if they had, so I know the viewers can't see me, so don't worry about it. So say the snowmobile went from the main gate to the bridge.
Correct.
The snowmobile would have to go forward, and then this squiggle right here would be on the opposite side.
There's one problem with your statement. This picture was taken after the snowmobile was parked. It could have been facing the opposite direction when it was parked before it was used.
And then backtracked, and then somehow managed to go with the same exact
It was
tracks.
snowing heavily.
Yeah, but you would still have overlapping tracks.
Not necessarily. If it was snowing enough, then you would not see previously left tracks. Especially if there was wind involved. Let me take a look at that weather report, as a matter of fact. Alright, so there was snow from 7 to approximately 10:50 p.m.
Yes, but there still would have been evidence of previous tracks because the snow that would have been in the previous tracks be a lot shorter than the snow above the tracks.
Not if there was wind.
But there wasn't wind.
Did they say that there wasn't wind?
There's no wind mentioned in the note.
There is no wind mentioned in the note, but that doesn't mean that there was no wind. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
For the sake of keeping it simple, I am saying that there was no wind that night. Thunder snow, yes. No wind. And you can have thunder snow without wind.
I saw the murderer at around 11 p.m.
Hold it!
You're sure about the time?
Yes, I was worried about it after all,
Why was that?
because I have a strong sense of responsibility, especially at this time of year. The acolyte was being doused in freezing water at the time. I couldn't very well take it easy in the bath all night now, could I? So at 11, I decided to leave Hazakura Temple.
Your estimation of the time seems reliable, at least.
Please continue, sister. And after asking that it be reported, I went out to the main gate.
Hold it!
You asked Phoenix Wright to report the crime, correct?
Right, the one who trampled me.
Seems she's the type to hold a grudge.
There isn't a phone in the main hall, so I sent her to the bridge. Phoenix Wright, he didn't even have his cell phone on him.
He had forgotten it at home, apparently.
What a naive boy, as always. Not only do I always carry my phone, but I always have my whip in hand, too. Anyway, I was really scared, and it was taking him a while to get back, so I thought I'd go out to by the main gate for a spell. And there, I saw tracks that indicated the snowmobile had been used.
Hold it!
As I recall, there was a snowmobile outside the main gate when I visited.
That's it, that's the only one we have. It'll run no matter how much snow falls.
Now, you're certain the snowmobile was there at the main gate when you arrived?
Yes, of course, it was parked in front of the gate. So, she had already gone, discarded the murder weapon, and returned by that time.
I'm not sure if this is really relevant. What should I do? Press further. I need answers to every possible doubt. The snowmobile in question, was it still warm at that time?
Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean, eh?
What do you mean, Miles Edgeworth?
I'm playing to a slow crowd here. It goes without saying that using a snowmobile will heat its engine. If it was still warm, then it means it was recently used.
Ah, I see. I never thought of that.
That's right, I overlooked that too.
Of course you did.
Then answer the question, please, witness.
I don't often go around touching hot engines. However, now that you mention it, there wasn't any snow on it.
Snow?
Yes, for some reason, only the snowmobile wasn't covered in snow.
There wasn't any snow on it?
Curses.
It seems highly likely that the killer did use the snowmobile then, eh?
How long does it take to get to Dusky Bridge by snowmobile? It takes 15 minutes to walk to Dusky Bridge, but less than 5 using one of those.
Hold it!
In that case, why didn't you use it yourself? You could have spared yourself some walking.
There is a reason for that. Have we got a moment for me to explain?
I think that's why the question was asked in the first place.
It was about a month ago. I was driving my beloved little snowmobile, happy as can be. I'd fetched some water and was heading back when I went and crashed into a tree. The tree and my back both went crunch, just like that. Crunch!
Crunch.
I haven't been able to find the courage to ride anything since then. Anyway, the killer must have used it. Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out?
Hold it!
Welcome in, it's Phoenix to Midnight. Good to see you here. Glad to have you. And I see you say it's uncanny to see Edgeworth as a defense attorney. Yes, it is. But I like it. This is one of the reasons it's one of my favorite cases. Refresh our memory, how long were you knocked out for?
Like I said, somewhere between 10 to 20 minutes. It's possible to get to the bridge and back in 10 minutes using the snowmobile.
I have to concede that is more than enough time.
Is that all you wish to concede, Miles Edgeworth? Iris could have done that. She can drive a snowmobile after all.
Oh, darn it, I accidentally hit the wrong button. I meant to press that. Another mystery to feed the fire. Was there any reason to go and throw away the murder weapon? Luckily, there's surely a problem with this testimony. Now all I have to do is start poking the holes in this flawed account. Alright, so back up.
Hold it!
Oh, wait, I already pressed this one. Back up. Keep going. Here we go.
Iris could have done that. She can drive a snowmobile after all.
Hold it!
While it would have been possible time-wise, one element remains out of place here.
Oh, and what would this mystery element be?
The killer's reasoning, Your Honor. Why did the killer do all of this? Why go to the Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon while there are other methods?
Huh. Too many unanswered questions. Your response, Miss Von Karma?
Turning to me for help over the slightest thing. Why don't you think for yourself once in a while, Your Honor?
What?
He's over the top as always.
Anyway, whatever the reason, the fact remains that the defendant could have done this. The murder weapon was disposed of in the river. Another point to me, Miles Edgeworth.
Okay, so...
Okay, well, the other question is, if the snowmobile had an accident with the tree, why is it not damaged?
Maybe that was a different snowmobile. Maybe this
Highly
is...
unlikely, because she said they were poor.
She didn't say that. She specifically said that's not the reason why she only has the one outfit.
But that usually means that that is the reason why they have that one outfit.
Nonetheless, she did not say that they were poor. She specifically tried to say the opposite.
Tried to say the opposite because they are. But
Irrelevant.
Snowmobiles do cost money.
Irrelevant.
It's not irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
It's not.
It is.
It's not. It's true. Ah! How dare you do this to me?
Let's see. Where could they have disposed of the murder weapon? Tracks photo. No, wait! Those tracks went over the footprints that Phoenix left.
So it was used after.
Uh-huh. Okay, so after asking that you went out to the main gate, tracks that indicated the snowmobile. Okay, maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while it was knocked out. Okay, I do not believe so, because of the tracks photo.
Objection!
There we go. I admit this photograph proves something. It proves that the snowmobile was used on the night of the murder.
You've finally accepted the inevitable, it seems, Miles Edgeworth.
However, if what the witness says is true, then why is there only one set of tracks?
I tried to tell you. I tried to tell you there would have been 2 tracks. Sorry, you're giving me a look.
What do you mean? Iris left Hazakura Temple, threw the weapon into the river, and then returned. If this was the case, then there naturally should be 2 sets of tracks in the snow. Those from heading out to the bridge and those from coming back.
Ah, you're right. You are forgetting one thing, Miles Edgeworth. On the night of the murder, it was snowing.
Yeah, but there still would have been 2 tracks.
The tracks leading to the bridge were erased by the snowfall. This removes your precious contradiction, now doesn't it?
I see. While she was at the river, the snow stopped, leaving just the return tracks in the snow.
No.
What do you have to say now, Miles Edgeworth?
Is there a flaw in her theory? This idea that the snowfall covered one set of tracks.
No.
There is a contradiction. The tracks to the river were covered by snow. What a nice theory. However, Miss Von Karma, that is impossible.
Would you care to explain why there is a rude index finger currently pointed in my general direction?
You're lucky it's just an index finger.
No need. The evidence will do all the talking for me.
On the night of the murder, the killer went to and returned from Dusky Bridge in order to dispose of the murder weapon. The outgoing tracks were erased by snow, or so claims Miss Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth, present your evidence to the contrary, eh? Evidence that the outgoing tracks were not covered by snow.
It was around 11 p.m. that the snow stopped.
Take that!
Witness, please tell us again what time it was when you witnessed the crime.
Like I said, it was around 11.
Of course, this means that the weapon was thrown away after that time, correct? On that note, please take a look at this data. It's the weather report for Eagle Mountain on the night of the murder.
Weather report?
Snow started to fall at 7 p.m., but it stopped at around 10:50. Therefore, when the sister witnessed the crime at 11 p.m., the snow had already stopped falling. It is impossible for any tracks made after that time to have been covered up.
Order! Order! Very well then. It looks like Miss Von Karma's claim has been snowed in. Ah!
It's too soon to be closing this trial due to snow. Miles Edgeworth, how pathetic of you to rely on the weather of all things. Answer me this then. When is a weather report ever correct?
No, you've got it all wrong. This isn't a forecast, this is actual data. Ah!
You deserve that whip for that terrible joke. They've got another viewer that would agree.
Forecast data, all weather reports have some inaccuracies. It may have still been snowing in the vicinity well past 11 p.m.
It's true, we cannot be totally sure, eh?
What? How did she pull that off?
It had stopped snowing at Hazakura Temple when the murder took place. You need to provide conclusive evidence of this.
I've come this far, there's no turning back now. Very well. I, too, cannot allow any doubt to remain concerning this testimony.
Ha! You can't back down, can you? Such a perfectionist, Miles Edgeworth.
Very well then, Mr. Edgeworth. Where is your evidence that it had already stopped snowing when the victim was killed?
Hold on, let me check something here. Okay, that's not it. Alright. The evidence is the tracks photo.
Take that!
Your response, Miss Von Karma?
It looks like it is still snowing in your heart, too. Shivering in the cold, you are closing your eyes to the truth.
And to think you just arrived after a long, tiring flight from Germany. That was poetry. Pure poetry.
This evidence is only going to freeze my case solid.
Respond, Miles Edgeworth.
Even if it is snowing in my heart. At the time of the murder, it had already stopped snowing at Hazakura Temple.
Very well then, Mr. Edgeworth. Where is your evidence that it already stopped snowing when the victim was killed?
Let's see, there's the victim's staff. Murder weapon, allegedly. Temple map, that doesn't really help me. The photo doesn't really help. Ring lights out. Nope, not the testimony. Oh. Duh. There's no snow on the body.
Take that!
Ultimately, it all comes down to one point, that being whether or not it was snowing in that courtyard when the victim was stabbed.
That's right, but proving that is
Incredibly easy. If we want to know whether it was snowing or not, this photo will tell us everything. Of course, I am referring to the photo of the crime scene. As you can see, everything is covered with snow, with just one exception.
And that is...
You have eyes, don't you? It was the victim herself, Miss Elise Donim. Why is there no snow on top of her? The answer is simple. It had stopped snowing when she was killed. That's why. In other words, if the killer really did go to the Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon, then in this photograph there should be 2 sets of tracks.
Order! Order! Just what are you... Yeah!
Just what are you suggesting, Miles Edgeworth?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure myself, but this is simply what all the facts point to. That night, someone used the snowmobile to leave Hazakura Temple. From the tracks left, it can be understood that they were heading for Dusky Bridge. At that time, it was still snowing.
Of course it was, because those tracks were erased by the snow.
Then, when this person returned to Hazakura Temple, the snow had stopped. Thus, the return tracks remained.
Huh. So there were a second set of tracks that were covered by snow. The question was when they were made.
All I know is that when we made tracks at the old place, we had decent snow. I could still figure out where we went because of where the tracks were.
Depends on the snowfall, but anyway.
Can I say something? This all sounds a bit fishy to me. What does, sister? There is only one key for the snowmobile. Furthermore, on the night in question, we know that the defendant had it. The key was found in her room after the murder. Which can only mean that night, Iris used the snowmobile to go to the inner temple.
Iris said that she never went there. I should probably press on this point some more when I get the chance.
The snowmobile can't cross the suspension bridge, so she must have left it on the Hazakura side of the bridge and crossed on foot.
That sounds right.
But what's odd is when I left Iris and returned to Hazakura Temple, I didn't see anything near Dusky Bridge. You must have just failed to see it, sister. Maybe, but when I made it back to Hazakura Temple, it was there by the main gate. The snowmobile, I mean. I know what I saw. It was covered in snow, too.
But that isn't possible!
Order! Order! Order in the court! What does all this mean?
So then what was the snowmobile used for? It wasn't taken by the defendant when she went to the inner temple. If it had been, then the witness couldn't possibly have seen it by the gate. Furthermore, it wasn't used by the killer to dispose of the murder weapon. If that was the case, there should be 2 sets of tracks in this photo. All we know is this. After it stopped snowing, someone used the snowmobile to return to Hazakura Temple. I never thought a simple snowmobile could cause so much trouble.
What about Larry?
Oh, wouldn't it be great if he was the killer?
I mean, he could have taken the snowmobile. He could have lifted the keys. He was supposed to meet Iris at Heavenly Hall.
Yeah, but if he was already staying there wouldn't be much point to it. You know, though, there is one other nagging question. If they use the snowmobile to dispose of the murder weapon, why not dispose of the whole body?
Maybe the body was too heavy.
Maybe.
Because it's like, we're talking about a grown woman here.
I think Francisca would have some objection about the frailty of the defendant, allegedly. Or the alleged frailty of the defendant. There we go.
I think we've learned all we can from this witness.
Yes, I've nothing more to add. I've told you everything that I know.
But then, that still leaves us with the same problem. If only there was someone, a witness who could testify to having seen the snowmobile.
A witness, huh?
Was there no one out walking perhaps near Dusky Bridge on that night?
I don't think that's likely. It was cold enough to freeze your ears off. Only an idiot would go out wandering in that.
There's Larry.
Unless they had something really important to do.
We just found
That's a
her witness.
shame.
Hold on. Something's coming to me. An idiot may well have gone wandering out on that subarctic night. Your Honor, actually, there just might be one individual who may be of help to us.
Really?
You know of someone who might have seen the snowmobile on the night of the murder?
I don't know for sure if he saw it or not, but there are two things about him that do come to mind.
Which are?
First, that he saw something incredible on the night of the murder.
And the second being...
This individual that I'm thinking of went wandering outside on that cold night. In other words, he is our kind of idiot.
Mr. Edgeworth, who is this idiot you're talking about?
The only one here dumber than Gumshoe.
Take that!
This guy must be a product of Jean-Luc Deladuc's Guide to Obnoxious French Painting.
This is Larry Butts, a disciple of the victim Elise Donim.
Her student? Interesting. And why was he wandering about outside on the night of the murder?
Now that's... I could tell them all about his designs for Iris, but it may cost us his credibility as a witness before I even call him. He is, after all, an artist. He was perhaps searching for something in the snowy scenery that would move him. Although I cannot guarantee that this is the reason.
And so, this unfortunate, unreliable-looking man, what exactly was it that he saw?
I intend to extract that from him right here in this courtroom.
Summon this youth as a witness immediately.
I have no choice, do I?
I believe he's in the gallery for this trial. It will not take long to summon him.
Very well.
Larry, you may have escaped me yesterday, but today I'm going to get everything out of you.
The court will now adjourn for a 20-minute break. Miss Von Karma, please see to the preparing of the next witness.
Understood, Your Honor.
Good. Well then, the court is now in recess.
Alright, so we will take a short break, and then we'll be right back after these messages. We have returned. Let us continue.
Excuse me, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm not really sure what to say.
Iris, we only have 20 minutes. There are two things which I need to ask you before we reconvene.
Alright, I'll help you any way I can.
First, about that night. You really didn't go to the inner temple, correct? The last witness claims to have met and talked with you while in the training hall. Either you or Sister Bikini is lying.
Mr. Edgeworth, it's just as I said yesterday. Until the incident occurred, I was in my own room in Hazakura Temple.
Very well. The second thing, then. That night, the temple snowmobile was used in between the time Sister Bikini returned to the main hall and when she bore witness to the murder. Sometime between 10:30 and 11 p.m. that night. Were you the one who used the snowmobile?
There is only one key for the snowmobile. The only person who could have used it was me.
So it was you. But why? What made you go out to Dusky Bridge?
I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth.
Iris.
I can't tell you about that yet.
Yet?
Not until her safety is confirmed.
Her?
The safety of the Acolyte.
The Acolyte, huh? She must be talking about Maya. Iris, look me in the eye and tell me the truth. Did you kill Elise Donim?
No matter who or what may come, I could never take a life.
As I thought, no psycho locks. Very well. It is my job to get to the truth. You'll discover this for yourself soon enough.
Kitty.
Court will now reconvene. Miss Von Karma, where is the witness?
During the break, a man was detained for suspicious behavior in the gallery.
Suspicious behavior?
He was sketching something very intensely.
Dare I ask what the witness was sketching when he was detained?
He drew a terrifying woman armed with a demonic face and a vicious whip.
I can only presume that his intention was to capture you. Ah!
Anyway, it's time to drag this pathetic excuse of an artist before the court. Laurice Donim, I hope you're ready. Get in here!
It would seem that whip is going to see plenty more use today.
Ouch! Your sketch is in contempt of this court. Hey! I was just artistically rendering. Ouch! You tried to run away from the bailiff who was trying to hand you your subpoena, correct? Look! I'm nothing but a fledgling artist training out in the mountains. I'm only down here in the city because I ran out of green paint. Well, to use a technical term for the color viridian.
Larry, this isn't an art store, now is it?
I know! I graduated junior high, okay? Look, art is all about working in the fields, isn't it?
Working in the fields?
I presume you wanted to say field work, I hope.
That's it! Thanks, buddy.
It's kind of sad that I was able to understand his mangled train wreck of a sentence.
I just happened to stop in here and found a wonderful new model. So see, I've got nothing to do with this trial, at all! I expect all your faces to be red when you realize this mistake. Bright red! Or to use a technical term, Crimson Lake. Ow, 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 ouch! Ow, 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 ouch! Ouch! Stop your pathetic blabbering and testify like a man!
Refrain from whipping me, Miss Von Karma. Cross-whipping is as bad as cross-checking. Witness, that was all your fault. Testify now!
This is too much for me. I was at that lodge out in the mountains looking up at the stars at night. I walked to the bridge a number of times, but I didn't see a snowmobile. That's a suspiciously specific denial, Larry. I didn't see anyone at the bridge that night either. The girl I was waiting for didn't show up. My teacher died on me. I'm all alone now. Aren't I edgy?
Witness, please refrain from talking directly to the lawyers doing your testimony.
I'm just a nobody, nothing but a small, worthless man, aren't I? And why wasn't I asked for my name and occupation or anything else?
Mr. Edgeworth, this man seems to have quite a severe inferiority complex.
Why the heck did she whip Judge? That is an excellent question. Welcome in, Spider Zed. How are you? He's recently been the cause of numerous incidents. I think he's finally realized for himself just how much of a nuisance he has been to other people. Yeah, that's right. I'm behind everything, every case. Watch out, okay? Just touching me will make you eternally unhappy.
Well, then let us proceed with the cross-examination. With no touching, thank you. We can delve into other details at a later time.
I was at that lodge out in the mountains looking up at the stars at night. I walked to the bridge a number of times, but I didn't see a snowmobile.
Hold it!
Larry, you really didn't see it. Hey, no need to hit your desk. I can hear you. I didn't see it. I didn't see a snowmobile. Larry, say snowmobile for me, please. Snowmobile? If you truly have nothing to hide, then why are you stammering like you just flew over a cuckoo's nest? Shut up! What is this? I don't know. Don't ask me. Seems I'll need to start from a more obvious contradiction. I'm going to strike the blow that'll finally get him to spill the beans. I didn't see anyone at the bridge that night either.
Hold it!
You didn't meet anyone. You were excited because you bought a 3D printer. Nice, nice. What are you going to print? That's right, because I've got nothing to do with this. And I'm just here to buy some Viridian paint, okay? Come on, I expect to see those Crimson Lake faces. Now!
It would appear that simply pressing him isn't going to be enough, Mr. Edgeworth.
Indeed. It seems that he's going to claim to have nothing to do with this to the end. I don't want this guy to cost us any more time. I need to slice through his obvious contradictions and keep things moving along. Okay, so you didn't see anyone at the bridge, huh? Let me check this. Didn't he see Phoenix?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
And he was like, "No, Phoenix!" And it just Phoenix comes
Okay, yeah, you're right, okay.
Objection!
Larry Butts, I can understand why you might want to throw your old life away. You're pretty pathetic and you cause all sorts of trouble. I'm sorry! But having realized just how much of a nuisance you have been, that could be considered a step in the right direction. Edgy, are you trying to console me?
Certainly doesn't sound that way to me.
However, I cannot forgive you for simply turning away from the incidents you create. You're totally pinning this on me. Now then, let us talk about the night of the murder. Sister Bikini, after seeing the murder take place, asked Phoenix Wright to report it. Thus, he headed for the public phone by the bridge. There, he happened to cross a certain nefarious individual. You, Larry Butts. That's right, me in the flesh.
Listen carefully, witness. It doesn't matter if you change your name. So long as you remain pretty pathetic, you'll continue to cause these incidents. Clean your room. That reality will not change.
But do you mean want me to do then? Larry, what you need to change is your inner self. But for now, what you saw that night, testifying truthfully about this one issue is all I need from you. You printed something keychain related. You'll post it in Discord later. Nice. Okay. We'll take a look later then. Edgy, I think I've finally woken up. Well, I guess I could still be sleeping. But anyway, I'll do it. I'll testify. Well, I'm not sure this will go especially well.
I'll ask again then, witness. What did you see on the night of the murder?
I went to the shack at around 9, so it would have been about 10:30 p.m. I was lying under my bedding when a white flash almost blinded me. I looked out the window and Dusky Bridge was on fire. There was still some thunder, but I went right away to check it out. That's when I ran into Nick.
You certainly saw quite a lot, didn't you?
So, what happened to the bridge after it caught on fire? It was like me after a 3-day stint chasing a girl. It totally burnt out, like almost totally gone. I mean, trying to cross the burning remains was what caused Nick to fall. What did you say?
Oh, don't worry, it's nothing life-threatening. He just caught a cold.
I'd never know with that man if he should be called lucky or unlucky.
Now, Mr. Edgeworth, please commence your cross-examination. Gotta move my chair again.
Apologize for the squeaking.
I mean, I dropped my phone earlier. You didn't say anything.
I didn't say anything because it was not mine to apologize for.
I think you're...
Alright. I went to the shack at around 9, so it would have been about 10:30 p.m.
Hold it!
What did you do out there in the cold for an hour and a half?
Well, if you really must know, I was busy being excited, I guess.
Excited? Dare I even ask?
I set the meeting time as 10 p.m., right? But I couldn't wait, and I thought she might come early, too.
Well, it appears she didn't come at all in the end.
Because they never arranged to meet in the first place, did they? Shut up! Don't go picking my fond memories apart! Anyway, I was getting a little worried. Thought maybe Iris had lost her way. So every 20 minutes or so I went out to the bridge. But I didn't see anything particularly suspicious. I didn't have anything else to do, so I went back to the shack to wait for her. I was lying under my bedding when a white flash almost blinded me.
Hold it!
This light was, of course...
Lightning? Like kerpow! Like a slap from Naomi, honestly. A big bada boom. Ah! Or a little like that. That's more like a punch from Miranda.
Witness, did you actually see the lightning hit the bridge?
Well, I was a bit startled by the flash of light, so... I looked out the window and Dusky Bridge was on fire!
Hold it!
Seeing that, what did you do?
What do you think? I was burning up as well, from the fire in my heart. And that's why you went to take a look at the bridge. Well, to be honest, it was freezing cold, so at first I thought, forget it, I'm not leaving my covers. But it had pretty much stopped snowing, so I don't know, I changed my mind.
I'm not sure I care for the forget it attitude you had at first, witnessed.
There was still some thunder, but I went right away to check it out.
Hold it!
You said right away, but exactly how long after the strike was that?
Lightning fell, and then the bridge caught on fire, maybe around 5 minutes. I mean, I suddenly thought, gotta go check this out. How far is the small shack you were in from the bridge? Hold on, well, it had pretty much stopped snowing. I guess about a 5-minute walk.
And how old did Dusky Bridge look when you got there?
Like I had recovered a piece of my childhood. I mean, not even the bonfires kids make during school camping trips can compare.
Well, should I press him for a little more info? Why didn't you call anyone? Larry, let me ask you one thing.
What is it, Edgy? What's with a serious face?
Why didn't you call anyone?
Huh? What do you mean?
Normally, when faced with a towering inferno, one would try and tell someone. There is a public phone right by Dusky Bridge, correct?
Well, of course I thought of doing that.
Let her press on Larry more. He is the one witness I'm okay with her whipping, honestly. So then let's hear why you didn't.
Huh? Yeah, okay. Reason. My reason... It isn't that I didn't try to tell anyone, I just didn't have time to, okay?
Liar.
I arrived at the bridge and Nick showed up less than a minute later.
Hold it!
You claim you arrived at the bridge at the same time as Wright.
Yeah! I thought, I better tell someone about this. But then Nick came up yelling about murder! Totally made me forget about the bridge. Fire was pretty much out by then anyway.
What's this feeling? I suddenly have a terrible case of unease.
It was after contacting the police that Phoenix Wright fell from the bridge, correct? Yeah, that's pretty much it, more or less.
You told me about the burning bridge yesterday. There's still something that doesn't quite fit. It looks like, despite his change of heart, Larry still isn't telling us the whole truth. Okay, so he went to the shack around... So it would have been around 10:30 p.m. And then Phoenix reached the bridge 10 minutes later. 10:40. So there was lightning. Aha, that's the problem. Lightning struck Dusky Bridge at 10:45, and then around 30 minutes passed between the fire starting and going out.
Objection!
Oh, come on. That statement contradicts the data provided by this piece of evidence. It does? How do you mean? Forgive me, Your Honor, but you just said it yourself that it does. Don't try to play mind games with me! Curses. It appears I've yet to adjust to being on this side of the courtroom. Okay, lying on your bed when a light flash almost blinded me. Looked out the window, Dusky Bridge was on fire. There was still some thunder, but went right away to check it out. Arrived at the bridge, Nick showed up less than a minute later. Well, if 10:30 was not the correct contradiction... There was still some thunder. The thunder went to 11 p.m. Maybe the contradiction is here about Dusky Bridge being on fire?
Objection!
Nope. Your Honor, what do you think of the witness's statement?
I don't think there's a problem with it.
You say that with such gusto that I suppose I must agree that that is all there is to it.
Don't get smart with me. Get smart with this penalty.
Oh yeah, penalty from a professional hockey playing judge. It would appear that even I can make mistakes. Okay, gonna have to save now. Maybe I need to press some more on something. Still some thunder.
Hold it!
Okay, so... You're pressing him. Why did you go to the bridge? So you suddenly thought to check out the bridge. Does this mean that you initially had no intention of doing so?
Well, yeah, I guess it does. It was really cold. I didn't really want to go out there.
If that's the case, why did you change your mind? I would like to hear your reasoning.
In which case, please give testimony to that effect, witness.
Can't rewind? Nope.
My reasoning. Okay, reasoning is it? I thought I'd never get another chance to see something so big burning.
Hold it!
So you decided to go and see what was happening? That's right, we're talking about a massive suspension bridge burning to high heaven. That's not something you see every day. A real like, really special?
Spectacular?
Can we really trust a witness who is unable to pronounce spectacle?
Life seems to love hitting this poor witness below the belt.
Well, it's not like there's anything to damage down there. Well, my motto is to hit life back as hard as I can. Ah! I'll give you a few hits too, if you like, with my whip. You told me about the burning bridge yesterday, but there's still something that doesn't quite fit. It looks like, despite his change of heart, Larry still isn't telling us the whole truth.
Okay, so...
Oh.
Hold it!
Okay, so pressing... Oh, not that one.
Hold it!
Okay, so I need to get the bit about Nick being there instead. So why didn't you call anyone? There we go. So skip ahead. Okay, you arrived at the bridge and Nick showed up less than a minute later. So the timeline is that 10:30 p.m. takes about, and he saw the lightning strike at allegedly 10:30. 10 minute is 10:40, and then Nick showed up about 10:41, give or take. So let's save here again. Yeah, he could have seen lightning strike the lightning strike the bridge from there, so that's possible. And then, but Wright saw the murder occur 15 minutes before he would have arrived. Well, he didn't see the murder. The murder had occurred 15 minutes before Wright arrived at the bridge. And so... at that point, the snow had stopped, because you could still see his footprints. And the snow stopped at 10:50. So the murder couldn't have occurred. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to try presenting the weather data again at this point.
Objection!
There we go. Your very existence being a contradiction, I'm not sure if you can grasp this or not. What the hey, Edge? You make me sound like some kind of alien. But your testimony is conclusively contradictory. The problem here is time. I've never been the best timekeeper, you know? 3 minutes after Billy leaves on foot, you follow him on your bicycle. How long does it take for you to catch up with him? Terrible at those. This is much more simple. You saw the lightning strike Dusky Bridge, and immediately went to see what had happened. Is this correct? Yeah, well, I wasted about 5 minutes first, but more or less. I have weather data from the night of the murder here. According to this, the lightning fell at 10:45 p.m. You say it takes less than 5 minutes from the shack to Dusky Bridge.
meaning you probably got there at around 11 p.m. That all sounds about right, I guess. And then Nick showed up and did his falling act. That is impossible. What do you mean? 11 p.m. is when the murder occurred in Hazakura Temple. Thus, Wright was still there in the courtyard. There is no way that Larry could have encountered him at the Dusky Bridge at that time. Excuse me, I have an objection. You do? Edgy, how many times do I have to say this? I'm not Larry, I'm Laurice Stone. Yeah! It has not been proven that the murder occurred at 11 p.m. The sister only said around 11. In which case, it could have been earlier than that. Watch your footing there, Miss Francisca Von Karma. The slope ahead is slippery. For there is still no way that Wright could have been at Dusky Bridge at 11 p.m. And why not? It is clearly written here in the weather data report. It took around 30 minutes for the bridge to burn out. Therefore, the bridge must have been burning until at least 11:15 p.m. Which means what exactly? Wright did not see the bridge when it was being consumed by the flames that night. In fact, he did not arrive on the scene until after the flames had died down. Larry, you arrived at the bridge at 11 p.m. But Wright did not make it there until at least 11:15. I suggest you stop hiding things and just tell us the whole truth. Now then, what happened during these missing 15 minutes? I feel like I just got brutally woken up by a toilet splashback. I guess I was still sleeping after all. Pinch me. Order! Ah! So there was a missing 15 minutes prior to meeting Phoenix Wright. I hardly see that as much of a problem. Yeah, not much of a problem at all. Really? The bridge is burning before your eyes and there is a phone right next to it. Why then did you not report the accident? Yes, witness, why didn't you? Were you there simply to watch the bridge burn? And therein lies the problem. For even after the bridge had burned out, he was still there. Staring into space, this witness didn't even attempt to fulfill his civic duty. That's what it sounds like. But this is Larry we are talking about, and even he is incapable of being so stupid. Caption said B word when Larry said pitch. Oh, goodness. That is unfortunate.
I mean...
Which means there has to be a reason for his inaction. Edgy, I think it's about time I got serious with you, dude. Just as I thought, you've been playing with us all this time. Listen, I'm gonna tell you everything. Are you sure you want to hear it all? Yes. I may really say it this time. Ah! Then say it! Very well. I have a terribly bad feeling about this, however. Let's have the witness finally give us the whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
Now, for this 15-minute gap, what were you doing, witness?
I'm a donim. I'm an artist. What do you think I was doing? Sketching in front of the bridge. I was whipped up into a frenzy of art. The shock and awe that I was feeling. I transferred it all directly onto the page. Before I realized that the flames had gone out and then he came running up.
That was it.
I suppose artists can be strange folk.
That's right. I'm willing to sacrifice everything in order to draw the perfect sketch. Including the truth from the sound of it.
Mr. Edgeworth, has this removed the last of your doubts?
Not at all, Your Honor. One very large doubt still remains.
And what would that be?
This is a surprisingly believable story, especially considering the source. So why did he think he needed to hide it from us until now? I intend to drag the reason out of him. You'll regret this, Edgy. I'm a donim. I'm an artist. What do you think I was doing? Sketching in front of the bridge. I was whipped up into a frenzy of art. Shock and awe I was feeling. I transferred it all directly onto the page.
before I realized the flames had gone out and then heat came running up. Alright, let's press this one here. The burning bridge moved you that much, did it? I find that hard to believe. You moron, Edgy! You don't understand me at all! If I see an abandoned cat, I find myself passing by it with tears in my eyes. I'm a man overflowing with irresponsible kindness. And I use my irresponsible kindness to fill the pages of my notebook. An artist using a notebook. So pathetic, it makes me want to cry myself. I command you to go buy at least a proper sketch pad. What does that have to do with anything?
I'm not sure I care for an artist using a notebook for sketching. Proceed, witness.
Before I realized the flames had gone out and the heat came running up.
Hold it!
You forgot the passage of time to that extent, did you?
Well, once I get caught up in something, I tend to forget everything else.
It's true, he's always been that way. I guess he's not lying about that, at least. Phoenix Wright appeared on the scene after 11:15. If he was drawing until then, that dispels all doubts.
Aside from doubts of his humanity, eh?
There's a big clue waiting for me in this cross-examination. This testimony does nothing less than mock the court. But I'm sure that there's a vital kernel of truth hidden in it somewhere.
I'm a donut, I'm an artist. What do you think I was doing?
Hold it!
Tell us, Larry.
My name is Larice. Get it right. Mistakes like that are what keep you from being popular with ladies like I am.
Just who exactly are you?
I'm Larice Stoneham, apprentice extraordinaire.
That's what he calls himself in any case.
Then you are an artist?
Of course, I'm an artist, the real thing.
Yet again, that's what he calls himself.
Names mean nothing. There's only one issue I care to discuss. What were you doing?
It's a very big issue indeed.
Sketching! In front of the bridge, I was whipped up into a frenzy of art.
Hold it!
Sketching? The burning bridge?
The burning bridge and everything that came with it.
What? Came with it?
You want to hear this from my lips, do you, Edgy? You'll regret this. That sketch of mine. Ah! Enough! Just take that ridiculous sketch of yours out already, witness. What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean.
It does indeed appear to be the fastest solution. I'll leave it to you, Mr. Edgeworth.
What should I do? I have a terrible feeling that the instant the sketch is revealed, the entire world may be changed by what is depicted there. Look at the sketch. Larry, I wonder if you could show us your sketch. Please?
Well, even I couldn't have imagined it'd turn out like this.
Imagined what?
That Larice Stoneham's debut would take place here today, like this. Ow, 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 ouch! Show it, now! Okay, but still yourselves. This is the world of Larice Stoneham!
Well... So this is Dusky Bridge, correct? Quite a large bridge, isn't it? Your response, Miss Von Karma.
Yes, well, it's a better drawing than I expected.
Isn't it? I struggled to reproduce those flames. I really did.
Yes, I'm sure you did.
This is going to get ugly. No one has the courage to bring it up, it seems. This mysterious flying object. Larry?
What?
Burning bridge is fine. But what is that unfortunate-looking figure?
Ah, you spotted that? I thought you might.
However much I might want to ignore it, I can't.
It's Iris, of course! Iris! I wish she'd take better care of herself. We have to plan for her future, you know? What would have happened to her if she had injured herself flying like that?
Larry, please answer this next question honestly.
Okay.
Are you really claiming to have seen this? Are you claiming to have seen the silhouette of the defendant flying over a bridge that was engulfed in flames?
Yep, that's what I saw. That's why I drew it. I'm an artist, a real artist.
Are you? Hi! The girl! She's really high up in this picture! What was that for?
This is all a bad dream. I was hitting you on the cheek to test that theory.
Please whip your own cheek from now on if you like to test your wild theories.
Yep.
That's wrong karma for you.
Anyway. And yes, Spider said, hi.
If any of the Ace Attorney characters were into that sort of thing, it would be him.
No court of law will ever acknowledge that people can fly.
Actually, there is some precedent for this. She was flying pretty high, my sweet Iris. She was about 30 feet above the bridge at least. It was really something to see. The precedent, I believe they're referring to. Hat. Cloak. White roses.
The circus case, right?
Yep. I don't even think I got that quote right, and I still managed to trigger PTSD. This has to be some kind of mistake. Mr. Edgeworth, please bring the witness back down to Earth. What? Me? This witness is your friend, is he not?
Accessory to foolishness, Miles Edgeworth.
Let us get back to the cross-examination, by force if necessary. Mr. Edgeworth, I expect you to expose the obvious contradiction here. Yes, Your Honor. Looks like I've got another reason to remember this moron.
Well, what did you think of my debut piece?
Get that thing away from me! Now, hurry up and cross-examine him.
Alright, whipped up into a frenzy of art. Saw Iris flying, her white hood fluttering.
The problem is she wasn't wearing her white hood.
Objection!
Larry, what did you really see that night? Not that I particularly care.
In your position, that's just being irresponsible. I drew exactly what I saw. I'll give you a whole $1 that it's the truth.
If that is truly the case, then there's one thing that we can say for certain. What might that be? That the person who flew over the bridge could not have been the defendant, Iris.
What? What do you mean? I don't understand. Ah! A foolhardy folly of a foolish statement by an equally foolishly foolhardy fool. How exactly can you make this claim?
Tell us, Larry, according to this picture, the individual whom you say you saw was wearing a hood. Correct?
Of course she was. The rundown shack is quite away from the bridge. The hood is what told me that this floating angel was my Iris. The hood is my darling Iris, and Iris is my darling hood. Ah! It seems there are bigger fools in this world than the one at the defense's bench.
Larry, there is something you need to be made aware of. On the night of the murder, Iris wasn't wearing her hood. She had given it to Wright as a gift. Are you going to change your story, or perhaps suggest it was Wright who took flight?
I mean, he is part of the Wright brothers.
He doesn't have a brother.
Maybe he had one. I don't know.
He doesn't have a brother. He doesn't even have a sister. He was an only child.
So they made the right choice?
Naruhodo.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to crack jokes. It's not working.
What are you talking about?
I think you understand what I mean just fine.
Why? Why did Nick have Iris's hood?
What?
Edgy, what's going on with Iris and Nick? Why you, Nick, you dog?
I do believe that this unbelievably mysterious sketch is destined to disappear, discredited, and discarded. Straight into the garbage.
Ah! Ah! What is it now, witness? It feels like I've been waiting 25 years for this very day to come. Edgy, today's the day I get to completely stupefy you. What?
What is the meaning of your outburst, witness?
I hate to have to do this, but I have some definitive evidence.
Definitive?
Evidence? Iris did indeed come flying over the burning bridge, and I, Laurie Stoneham, shall prove it!
I didn't expect to ask this again, but we shall be needing your testimony once again. Tell us anything you know concerning the defendant as depicted in this sketch, and show us your evidence that this nightmare was actually a reality.
Okay, hope you're ready, Edgy. Because I'm gonna feed you a whopping serving of pain!
You've been serving us a whopping serving of pain this whole time, trust me.
When I reached Dusky Bridge, she was already gone. I was so worried, so I frantically searched all over for her. That led me to finding a beautiful crystal sphere half buried in the snow. I'm sure that Iris was simply wearing a spare hood. After all, no one else could have lost a crystal sphere that night. A crystal sphere? This one. Pretty, isn't it? The Finders Keepers. That sphere, where did you find it? Let me see, around here somewhere? Looks about right.
And it was half buried in the snow.
It had pretty much stopped snowing by then. But there was still some falling as I walked to the bridge.
Court accepts this crystal sphere.
That's mine, okay? I want it back afterward.
There's something on it. Oh my, it's blood!
What? Blood? You ready, Edgy? By tomorrow morning you'll be calling me Master Larry. Yeah, I like the sound of that. No one's gonna push me around anymore.
Didn't you want to be called Laurie Stoneham only a few minutes ago?
When I reached Dusky Bridge, she was already gone.
Hold it!
So, you went to the burning bridge.
That's right, to meet Iris. She actually flew to get to me. The least I could do was meet her halfway.
But the defendant was not at the bridge when you got there, you say?
I guess she went back to Hazakura Temple. She's a girl after all. She must have wanted to look her best.
Must be lovely to live in this fantasy land of Larry's mind. Actually, it's so depressing that I can't even work up the energy to point. So, what did you do next?
I was so worried, so I frantically searched all over for her.
Hold it!
So you searched all over for her.
She was flying pretty high, you know. I thought maybe she slipped on her landing and got hurt. Hey, it was more than possible. Also, when I headed out to the shack the first time, I was snacking on a banana. I was pretty sure I threw the peel away somewhere around there, so, you know.
Can one guy really be this stupid? So did you find any signs of her so-called landing?
I don't really remember. I kept on falling over myself and kind of lost it for a while there.
You fell over yourself.
Yeah, the snow was deep, and there was even a banana peel out there.
Yep, there's stupid, and then there's Larry Butts. Short of it is that you didn't find any signs of her landing, correct? Then what happened next?
That led me to finding a beautiful crystal sphere half buried in the snow.
Hold it!
Half buried?
It was sitting in the snow with a little gathered on top of it. It was very hard to spot, actually. I mean, it was dark out, too.
I'm impressed. You did well to find it.
No matter what you may think when you look at me, I'm a pro, a genius security guard. I used a pen light I borrowed from my company to help in my search, and it sparkled really brightly, as if it was saying, "Here I am!" to me. It does indeed look very much like the crystal sphere on Iris's hood, but need I remind you that she was not wearing her hood that night? Pro of idiot. Yep. I'm sure that Iris was simply wearing a spare hood.
Hold it!
Each nun is assigned their own hood, and they are assigned only one. I don't know anything about that, okay? And Iris is special, alright, dude? Even if she did steal a spare hood, I'll forgive her. This is getting us nowhere. Our destination for the day, it seems.
However, this crystal sphere was found near the bridge. That is a fact. If it didn't come from a hood, where could it have come from?
That is the question I aim to answer. After all, no one else could have lost this crystal sphere that night. Oh. I beg to differ.
Objection!
Larry, that night there was someone. Someone who lost a crystal sphere. There was? Who? Who was the stupid idiot?
Miss Elise Donim, the mentor to a stupid idiot.
The victim?
I have a photo of her here. And on the end of her staff, you can see a familiar-looking crystal sphere.
Hey! That's my photograph! Give it back! Ouch! A crystal sphere like that is quite easy to find. I have one just like it on my brooch.
They look nothing alike! In any case, please take a look at this. This is the victim's staff found at the scene of the crime. Ah, the crystal sphere! It's gone!
But... What? What?
Just what does this mean? If anyone jumped or flew across the bridge that night, it certainly was not Iris. After all, she was not wearing her hood. More importantly, the crystal sphere found at the landing site was not hers either. That means the one who flew and dropped the sphere was the victim, Miss Elise Donim.
Objection!
A fool alongside another fool on a fool's errand to reach a foolish conclusion. First of all, this sketch, which I prefer to call a scribble, is ridiculous. People cannot fly, thus it is rejected. You can't do that! I saw it with my own two eyes! And this crystal sphere, this is nothing more than a red herring.
You honestly believe that?
Give it some thought and I'm sure you'll realize it as well, Miles Edgeworth. Elise Donim was in her room on the night of the murder. There was no reason for her to go to Dusky Bridge. Therefore, this sphere cannot be related to this case. That is all.
Objection!
Miss Francisca von Karma, the only people who will accept that explanation are scatterbrains and clowns.
Why are you pointing at me?
The victim's crystal sphere was found near the bridge on the night of her murder. Yet you expect us to believe this has nothing to do with the case?
Objection!
That crystal sphere, it was probably thrown away at the bridge after the murder.
After the murder?
There is blood on the crystal sphere, isn't there? This naturally suggests that it was thrown away after the murder took place. The killer placed it there to throw the investigation off the scent, which is the exact same reason that he drew that ridiculous sketch. What? You mean... I'm the killer?! No way! All joking aside, just when did this crystal sphere appear near the foot of the bridge? Unless this can be proven in some way, I refuse to believe this is related to the case.
She makes a valid point. There was no evidence that Elise Donim left Hazakura Temple that night. However, if somehow this crystal sphere can be proven to have been dropped before the victim was killed, then this case is going to transform into something else entirely. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth. I want your final opinion on the disposition of this crystal sphere. If it is not related to the case, then this witness who you called will have been nothing more than a monumental waste of time.
Prepare yourself for some very appropriate punishment, Miles Edgeworth. Can I prove it? Can I prove that the crystal sphere was dropped before the murder took place? Yes, I can. Can I prove it? That isn't the issue. To simply prove it, that's the only option. That's what he'd do. That's what the way Phoenix Wright would do this. Your Honor, allow me to prove something to you. I will prove that this crystal sphere is a vital link to solving this case.
You will do what?
That look in your eyes. You remind me of Phoenix Wright when he is cornered. That should come as no surprise. Because right now I am Phoenix Wright and I am indeed cornered.
I order you to present your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Evidence that proves that the crystal sphere was indeed dropped before the murder.
That would be the weather data.
Take that!
Your response, Miss Von Karma?
Birds of a feather flock together. Are you familiar with this phrase? Miles Edgeworth? I think one such bird is calling for its fellow now. Go, go, Edgy! Do it! Prove it! Win! 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 Is cheering. It's as though I'm listening to the ominous cause of ravens.
So, Mr. Edgeworth, what will you do from here? One more chance, Your Honor. I can't turn back after coming all this way.
Alright, I'm gonna save here. Time of the murder and when the crystal sphere was dropped. I need to find proof that the latter happened first.
I order you to present your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Evidence that proves the crystal sphere was indeed dropped before the murder.
The victim's staff only has her fingerprints on it?
Take that!
Nope, that's not it. Okay, so what is the evidence that the crystal sphere was dropped before the murder? I mean, one would... Unless the crystal sphere is the evidence. Because it says found half covered in snow.
Take that!
This crystal sphere, it was half buried in the snow, correct? The weather report should have given me enough evidence, but no. That's right. If it hadn't stopped snowing then, it would have been game over. Snow would have totally covered it. That's all I needed to hear from you, Larry. Your testimony makes one thing quite clear.
But what?
When the crystal sphere was dropped, it was snowing, even if it was ever so slightly. Snowing, on the other hand, let us look at the scene of the murder. As proven earlier today, there was no snow on the victim's body.
Ah!
Therefore, the crystal sphere must have been dropped before the murder. What?
Order! Order! Order!
On the night of the murder, the victim did indeed go to dust... Ugh. Don't you hate it when bad things happen to good sentences? On the night of the murder, the victim did indeed go to Dusky Bridge. And there, something occurred that caused the staff's crystal sphere to come loose.
What? What could that have been?
The sphere, there is some blood on it, isn't there? Allow me to raise a certain possibility at this junction. The real crime scene was near the foot of Dusky Bridge.
Objection!
The murder didn't take place in the Hazakura Temple courtyard? Only a fool would suggest such a foolish piece of absolute foolishness. Just who is the fool, and which part is so foolish, Miss Von Karma? Have you been paying any attention this whole time, Miles Edgeworth? The sister saw everything. She saw the victim being killed by the defendant in the Hazakura Temple courtyard.
Objection!
That's not exactly true, now is it? To put it more precisely, what she saw was the murder weapon being removed from the victim's body. That's the same thing! No, it isn't. You said it yourself. Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed. If that statement is the truth, then Dusky Bridge could very easily be the scene of the murder. The murder weapon was not removed, thus there was no bleeding.
Objection!
You are forgetting one vital thing, Miles Edgeworth. Elise Donham's body was found in Hazakura Temple. On foot, it takes 15 minutes to travel from Dusky Bridge to Hazakura Temple. You mean to suggest that someone carried the body all that way? I've made it this far. The only place to take this is to the end. I just need to prove that my version of the events is also perfectly plausible.
Now, if the defense is ready, the court would like to have an explanation. Please show us the method by which the victim's body was carried to Hazakura Temple.
Alright. Do or die, because if I get this wrong, I'm gonna have to reload.
Take that!
On that snowy night, there is one way that a body could have been moved: the snowmobile. As we know, the snowmobile was used that night. It was explained as having been used to dispose of the murder weapon, but it could have also been used to carry a body.
Order!
This is a completely unacceptable, Miles Edgeworth. You've dug yourself into your own grave.
What do you mean?
The only one who could have used the snowmobile was the defendant. She's the one who moved the body. Doesn't that put the final nail in your coffin? You're too late, Francisca von Karma. And in fact, the defense has proven something else entirely. We have shown that this case requires further investigation. But what? Where was the victim Elise Donham really killed? If her body was moved, whatever for? And finally, just what does this image mean? Do you even need to think about that? Such a creature could never see the truth, let alone describe it.
Objection!
This witness certainly sits on one of the lowest possible branches of humanity. Oh, that's a good quote. I love it. However, he would never utter a lie that could hurt a girl with whom he is enamored. He drew this, so it is something that actually happened. The defense stands firm on this point. Edgy, thank you!
That settles it then. I cannot give a verdict under these circumstances.
Right. I seem to have fulfilled my part in this. It is just as I thought. Francisca von Karma, you make a wonderful partner. Excuse me? There was one reason and one reason alone for me being here. To expose the darkness lurking in this case and then pass it on to Wright. Really? That's what all this was about? You could have just told me that from the very beginning. Then I wouldn't have had Francie whipping me all. Ouch! Miles Edgeworth, I don't care about what you were here to do. This was my chance to finally grind you under my heel. A shame that your chance seems to have slipped you by. What a shame, Francie! This is all your fault. Such a terrible witness. You were an affront to all the legal system stands for. Ow, 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 ow! I demand satisfaction!
I cannot believe that the witness's testimony relates to an actual event. However, there has to be some sort of answer for the questions it raises. Have his words here today been the truth or lies? Next time we gather in this courtroom, those are the matters that shall be addressed. I am counting on thorough investigations by both the defense and the prosecution.
And with this, the rest is up to you, Wright.
Court is now adjourned.
Alright, let's see here.
What do we have? What do we have? Oh. You're going to raid Charles Q. Banks. He is playing Bloodborne. I'll be back on Sunday, hopefully, with more Batman Arkham Asylum. In the meantime, this is Dr. Novelle signing out for the evening. You all have a good one. Let us begin the raid.